Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the SHOT Show. And I'm here with my buddy Bryce from CRKT. He's going to take us through some of the cool new models they've introduced this year. Bryce, take it away.
Right on, yeah. We've got a lot of new exciting stuff, some extensions to cool lines that came out last year and plays on some of our classics. So it's been a real exciting year so far. I'd say first up, we'd probably start with our M40 line. As most people know, Kit Carson, the creator of the M16, really created one of our strongest lines. M16 has a huge breadth, all sorts of different variations. So it's really exciting to go back into Kit's kind of archives and find the M40. Then we got to kind of change it up and put Flavio Icoma's deadbolt mechanism on there. And I really like how we did this one. A little bit of the grip there on the buttons really makes it really easy to find. But deadbolt, it's real kind of namesake. It's one of the strongest locks on the market. It's really simple to use and it's really safe. Keeps your fingers out of the way when you close it. You can really see Kit Carson's sort of design elements on this knife, kind of a lot of similarities to the M16 as well, but really thin, good deep carry pocket clip in the back so it rides really low and discreet. This larger model here, this is the M40-15. It's got the VEF serrations. We also have smaller models. So this is the M40-03, a little bit smaller and kind of exciting. Our first models we came out with the deadbolt were real big. So I think it's been really exciting to see the deadbolt sort of used on smaller models.
What I also like personally, especially on this design, you've got the M16 really kind of put CRKT on the map in the earlier days. And the deadbolt has been doing great for you guys lately. So it's really cool to see that kind of past and present fusion coming together on a knife like this.
Yeah, no, really cool. And that's what we really do well. I love to see two designers, two of the best, Flavio Icoma and Kit Carson together on a knife. That's really cool. You don't get to see that very often, but just walking around our booth, we have all our designers here and they're all talking shop and trading pointers. So that's cool to see. That's exciting to me.
Definitely.
So that's the M40 line. Moving on, we got a new Lucas Burnley knife. This is what we're calling the Tuna. You can kind of see a little bit of the Tuna quality there. Lucas recently moved up to Massachusetts and he sort of took a little bit of inspiration from the bluefin tuna they like to fish for up there. And you can see that in sort of the swelling design in the front, but it's overall a very functional knife. Good, comfortable, smaller handle that hides a whole lot of blade. Deep carry pocket clip, metal on metal, so it's in and out of the pocket, really simple. That's something that I really enjoy. And just a really cool Lucas Burnley design. I love the color accents with the green and then the copper along the back spacer as well, the little ring around the front center pivot. A real comfortable knife to use. Good amount of belly to the knife, just a really good working knife. Really kind of exemplifies Lucas's style too. So always excited to have another Burnley knife in the lineup.
And I agree, a very usable EDC design and something we were talking about earlier. I love what they've been doing with their pocket clips with all their new releases, but this and a couple others especially. Pocket clip is nice and nested into the steel and the screws are also flush as well. So it's going to be very easy to go in and out of the pocket as he was saying. And it's just a nice little touch, especially on a more budget-oriented knife.
Yeah, it's great value as well. So that's what we try to do. Try to bring you best knife designer in the world's knives at a good price. So I think that one exemplifies that idea. Moving on to another one of our really hot designers. This is a Vox design. This is what we're calling the Pete. A little bit smaller, but a really good everyday carry for most people, I think. This is a real functional size, really functional blade shape as well. I think Vox has always sort of had that, his design has always been sort of fundamental and functional. And that's what I've really appreciated about him. The Pilar was a great example of that. A small little tank knife, small enough that, but it had a lot of utility. You could do big jobs in a small package. And I think that this one kind of does the same thing. A fun story about this is he actually came out to visit us in Portland and he designed and sketched this knife out while he was sitting in our airport. So really close and near and dear to our heart. Kind of wanted to design something that any Portlandian person could carry and use everywhere. Left and right-handed carry on the pocket clip, real deep carry. I love it when that pocket clip comes up over the frame.
Yeah, there's nothing at all poking out above there.
Yeah, that's the way I like my pocket clips. Really easy to open with the thumb hole. And I also like how we kind of bulked out this smaller handle. Really fits well in the hand. It's got that kind of egg shape to it. Really, it's just a really good grip on a smaller knife that gives you real confidence
That
on
bit
it.
of contouring does make just such a big difference, especially on a smaller knife, but all around, to actually feel like you have a much more solid hold on the knife, for sure.
Yeah, and a gold's great in that position. I also really like choking up. I end up doing a lot of fine-tune cutting, choking up, and that whole recess really kind of gives you a little bit of extra grip and traction when you're in there doing the detail work. So, cool. That's the Pete. Another one of our most famous lines, the Minimalist. This is a line designed by Alan Foltz. We've had it around for quite a while, and this is the Minimalist Cleaver. We've had a couple different designs, couple different blade shapes. The Bowie is probably the most well-known blade shape, but really fun to jump on the cleaver sort of trend here, and it's a really functional blade. Cool little touch here. This has a sort of a hint back to the original use of the kind of kitchen cleavers where you would hang them up. Still micarta on the handles. Little finger grooves give you great control. It's a small knife, but huge utility. I also like the fact that this might be one of the few kind of fixed blades that I'd EDC. It's so small, it's innocuous, you can put it in your pocket, have it on your hip, and you really wouldn't notice it.
And those finger grooves do give you a lot of retention, so you have really do get a lot of control over that small handle, that small blade.
Yeah, I get a lot of people with really big hands, skeptical that this knife's for them, but once you get it in your hand and realize how much control you have over it, it's great.
And the cleaver's just fun.
Oh,
it's great.
Just cool. I know, I was so excited to see this. I was so glad that we kind of jumped on this, and this little platform kind of asks for any sort of blade shape to be attached to it.
Absolutely.
We also came out with another Minimalist this year, a play on the Bowie. This is what we're calling the Minimalist Gears. As you can see, sort of the gear patterning on there. And that pattern's actually 3D printed onto the blade. It's a really tough material. We've done a lot of sand plunging on it to make sure that it'll stand up to wear and tear. It gives it a little bit of personality and it touches to that really bright green. And actually the sheath itself glows in the dark. So not only is it kind of glowing here in the day, it's kind of that day glow green, but it'll glow in the dark. What's really cool, I think this connects to Alan Foltz Customs. If you go and look at his custom minimalists, they're all super bright colors, some really cool patterns on there. So it's really cool to be able to afford or get an Alan Foltz knife at a really good price. It's a great little functional knife, and I don't know if a lot of people know how the Minimalist came to be, but Alan was working in his shop and he found a piece of metal that had 3 holes drilled in it, and he thought, I can make 2 knives out of that. So he drilled it apart and it became one of our most famous lines.
Making a little bit of knives myself in the background. As much steel as you can possibly use out of the piece you bought. I mean, we're going to find a way to make use of it for sure.
Waste not, want not.
Exactly.
And so I thought that was a really cool idea, and who knew that one of the most successful knives that we have came from just a scrap piece of metal. Cool story. Really excited about both of these, and I'm really digging that cleaver. It's coming to a cheese board near you. So this is one that I was really excited about. I'm a huge Brian Ty fan. I've always liked his attention to detail, and just there's something you can always look at a knife and be like, that's a Brian Ty. And I've always been really liked his fighter knives. I've been kind of drooling over his customs for a long time. A little bit out of my budget. And guess what? We got the BT Fighters. Really exemplifying a lot of what he does. You can see a lot of the really cool grooves, really interesting machining. I mean, he's got such good detail on his custom knives. I would tell everyone, you gotta go look at what his customs are and really see what we did with ours and how close it came to it. Simple button lock, and I think we were talking about before, so fidgety.
It really is.
Just the way the blade comes in and out.
I especially have been loving the small one myself because it's not so big that, you know, you might frighten some people maybe, but man, I was doing this for hours when we got these in our building for sure.
Oh man, yeah, that button lock is so much fun to put just in its free position, kind of let it play. And I really like the big Tanto. It's a little bit more intimidating, you're right.
A little bit.
But I mean, it's an art piece in general. That's why he's always had all of his knives are just creations of art. I really also, another feature that I really like was the pocket clip. We put this little ball bearing here under the tip, so it goes over any thickness of pant material real simply. A couple of standoffs here. Again, in and out of the pocket really well, which is one of my pet peeves. If a knife is gonna go in and out, it's gonna take a lot of time, gets in my way. And so far, we really haven't had that issue. It's also running on our IKBS ball bearing system that also adds to the sort of fidget factor. Back flickable. I mean, just a whole lot of fun. Absolutely. This is what you're gonna see me carrying all the time. So that's the BT Fighter. We have it in large and the small. Another knife that you might have been familiar with from us last year, the Provoke. This is what we're calling our Provoke First Responder. So it's gonna be very similar to what you saw last year. It's your standard Provoke. It will come with the sheath as well, and a couple different attachment points, one for the belt and one for MOLLE attachments. But the real big innovation on this is this small ceramic bead out here, which we can use as a glass breaker. So after talking to a lot of our LE friends and people out in that industry, that's something that they really would like, and it's very unobtrusive, just a small ceramic bead, and it really does work well. We sent one of our guys down to the local pick-apart, had him smashing in windows, which
you guys did pay for those windows, right?
Oh, we did pay for them, yeah. I'm just kind of disappointed. I didn't get the invite.
Oh, man.
Man, I mean, that sounds like a great day at work.
It does, it sure
Smashing
does.
windows. So I think that's a great addition to the Provoke. So innocuous, and the Provoke just really solved a lot of the shortcomings of traditional folding knives, and it's just cool. I mean, in the end, just a really cool design by Joe Caswell. The more I look at this thing, I still find little details. I'm like, I see why he did that.
Yeah.
I see why he did that. So smart.
And I really think I've said this to our viewers before, the first responder one, if you don't have a Provoke yet, that's the one to get, because one, the price differential versus the standard model is less than it would be to buy the sheath second as an add-on, and you get the addition of that little ceramic bead, and it doesn't detract from the design. It doesn't get in the way at all.
Not at all. So yeah, I think this is the Provoke to get. I agree with that. So that's our Provoke First Responder. Real cool. Another name you might have been familiar with last year, Richard Rogers. He was a designer of the CEO, which has been very popular. This is the Montosa. So this is kind of a play on his Mutt design, medium utility knife. Really functional, a little bit larger. That's sort of, what is that, a reverse Tonto, modified
Something
sheet
like
foot.
that. Yeah.
It can go by many names, I imagine.
Classifications are hard sometimes.
It's like we're splitting hairs at some point.
You know what it is? It looks cool.
There it is. It just
go.
looks cool. That's what I'm going to call it. I like that. But all G10 design here on the outside, but real polished. I think polished G10 gives a really good balance between grip, aesthetics, and it's not too aggressive on your pocket, so you won't wear down your pocket like some of the more heavy G10s out there. Cool little purple accents here, real subtle, just a little bit of color to give a personality. But a really good feeling grip in hand of the knife, a real good gripping knife in the hand.
There you go.
I got it. But I really liked the real simple thumb stud opener. Again, deep carry pocket clip, in and out of the pocket easily. I'm being really repetitious with that. But just really excited about Richard Rogers' designs. He always has a clean aesthetic, and a real good, just a really good eye for mechanical design. So we'll probably be seeing more from Richard in the future, and I hope that partnership continues. So that's the Montosa. I think this is one of our favorites we were talking about earlier. TJ Schwartz is a designer we've been working with a lot more recently, and this is what he called the Overland. He's really into overlanding. He's got a big built-out truck, so he wanted to make a knife that could do it all. So you can do in your work all day, and then when you get to camp, you need to start preparing food and doing kitchen chores. This knife is no slouch there either. What he really designed this around is actually a bread knife, and you can see how the handle is kind of up above the cutting edge, allowing you to get down closer to the cutting point, which really helps when you're cutting vegetables.
And I think in addition to the food prep, anything you're doing where you're scoring with this type of knife, whether you work with leather or other materials where you use the tip a lot, also you get that little bit of extra clearance that's helpful for not just the kitchen stuff, the EDC stuff and the utility stuff too.
No, totally right. And I like the way that the blade's kind of directed towards the cut. It's a really ergonomic design, and that's another huge point for me, just having a really good grip on that and allowing the blade to be really easily controllable. Good jimping up top too, really thick, so you have good control over the thumb push if you need to. Just a really solid all-around design. It's one of those knives this could be your only EDC, and you probably wouldn't run into any kind of issues with that. Full frame lock on the back here. Again, smooth pocket clip. Cool little color touches here with the green on the front and the orange on the back spacer, as well as the ring up front. Really cool design by TJ Schwartz. I hope to see more from him as well.
For sure.
He brings a really unique view to the knife world, coming from sort of outside and automotive design. He's got a unique eye, and I like to see those outside influences kind of come into the knife world.
And if all of that wasn't enough to make you like this, I think my favorite thing about this, well, maybe not my favorite thing, but one of the things that really sets it over the top is it's a folder, but it's perfectly neutrally balanced, which that's a lot harder to do than you might think, and it makes it a lot more nimble in use and very nice. Just feels great to use.
Yeah, great knife, great overall. Good job, TJ. So keeping with the TJ theme here, this is the Parascale. What's interesting about the Parascale, it's featuring our deadbolt lock. We have two sizes of deadbolts this year. We have the large and the small. This is a smaller size. Smaller size on a big knife seems to work very well. And what TJ was able to use the deadbolt for was we were allowed to make what we believe is the first knife where you can wrap a paracord on both sides. So the paracord does not actually get in the way of the locking mechanism. It really just goes around the scales. There's little loops in here, just kind of like a shoelace. Really simple to wrap around your own paracord. This is what it'll come like at the very beginning, this tan paracord, but then you can kind of do your own thing. Here's a knife that I did up with a two-tone, with a green and black, with a little bit of a lanyard off the back there, but I'll be really excited to see what the community can kind of do and make it their own.
Challenge laid down.
There it is. I think the paracord is not just aesthetic, it does add really good grip and doesn't really inhibit the knife from going in and out of the pocket. Still in and out, very smooth.
I find it definitely kind of softens the edges. Like on any kind of manufactured pocket knife, you do have some edges, and just that smooth fabric essentially over it makes it very comfortable to hold.
Yeah, exactly. You can allow it kind of bulk up your hand if you want a little bit more bulk. You can do that and kind of customize your knife in that way. Another feature I don't know that gets called out enough about the deadbolt is this small little Torx right there. And what that does is actually adjust the detent. So if you like your knife to be a little bit looser, you can loosen that up on the fly, or if you want it to be tighter, you can do that as well. Traditionally, to change the detent, you're going in and adjusting that pivot, and we all know you adjust it just a little bit too far, now it's not opening.
Or your blade centering's off,
exactly.
Or this or that, yeah.
And the deadbolt doesn't suffer from that. It's all sort of built in here amongst itself, and then you can use this, which actually has a little leaf spring that presses in on there. So that's how you adjust the detent. A real simple feature, and if anybody has a deadbolt knife, look for that. It's on all deadbolt locks or knives. You can see it here on the M40 as well. That's a really cool feature. I really enjoyed that. I've got mine set to be a little bit looser, like where I like it, so it's kind of fun. And just another knife, real fidgety, real fun. And it's interesting that we can combine IKBS with our deadbolt. So a couple of innovations that CRKT has and one knife. So that's the Parascale by TJ Schwartz. And we'll bring it back around here at the end with another Kit Carson design. This is the M16 13FX. It's the first fixed-bladed M16.
Which seems like a no-brainer, right?
Why didn't we do it before? So it's pretty cool.
You can get it now.
There it is. So really cool, just tactical feel to it. Really thin, really good, probably more for kind of penetration-style cuts. Nasty VEF serrations on the back there. Just a really cool tactical piece. And the M16 is one of the favorite knives amongst the servicemen and women who are deployed around the world. And now they have a fixed blade option if they want to put that into their kit, which is really exciting. So,
and it's tough too. We're SK5 carbon steel on that.
SK5 carbon steel. I'm a huge fan of carbon steel too, and I'm glad that everyone's kind of getting used to it. Now you're starting to see it a little bit more bubbling up. Takes a great edge, but it's real tough. We do that powder coating, so you will have less of that rust issue there. It comes with a really simple sheath and a couple different mounting options. So, however you like to carry your knives.
Now, are these rivets here? Are these Tech-Lock compatible? Do you know?
Exactly.
Excellent.
So it'll include the Tech-Lock when you get it, and that's exactly what it's for. So. However you like to carry your knives, you'll find a way to mount it.
And it's going to be pretty easy to carry too. I like the narrowness of the blade overall, so it's not going to take up too much width on your belt, but you still have a nice thick spine, so it's going to be robust despite the thinner blade, or narrower blade I should say. Really cool piece.
Yeah, I was really excited to see that one. It's cool that Kit Carson's really been just kind of integral to CRKT as far as the M16 goes, and it's really exciting to be able to keep his designs coming and keep that design living on. So we're really excited to have yet another Kit Carson design in our lineup. That's kind of 2020 in a nutshell.
Bryce, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day here at SHOT Show to show us this stuff. Now, they have a ton of stuff. This is only some of the cool new knives. You can see all of them at the Knife Center. We'll leave links in the description below. Bryce, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, guys.